When it became obvious that COVID-19 would impact arts organizations and the live performance of music, all of us that work with ensembles had to decide what we would do facing isolation. One obvious thing to do is to get by with a little help from your friends. And I'm joined today, I'm going to get a little help from one of my friends. From across the pond, please welcome to the GFA, the CEO and Artistic Director of Guitar Circus and Musical Director of the National Youth Guitar Ensemble, NYG, the London Camerata. We're joined by Helen Sanderson.
Chuck, it's such a pleasure. It really is. Great to see you.
It's absolutely fabulous to see you, Helen, and I'm so glad you're able to join us today to talk about all of the aspects of Guitar Circus. What a cool name, by the way. Would you mind telling us just a little bit about the structure of the Guitar Circus and all that's encompassed, including, what I'd like to speak with you about, NYG? And by the way, is that okay that I say that? I thought I've heard that, NYG.
Yes. NYG is just, it's such a mouthful otherwise. So that's our favorite bit. Well, I mean, the National Youth takes in children from all over the UK, actually. And I know we are a tiny, tiny country. I think we fit into Texas. But for us, that is a large scope. So it was set up many, many years ago, but in its recent sort of revamp over the last few years, we've had regional ensembles operating from different centres throughout the UK. So we have groups in London, in Birmingham, and also in Cardiff and Wales. And we meet on a monthly basis for the majority of the year in those smaller groups, and then join together for more massed guitar orchestras in an Easter course and a summer residential. So it's an enormous amount of fun. We do sort of we audition on a very sort of open basis. So we invite auditions from all over the country, and we take children from 12 to 18 for most of those ensembles.
And so there is literally a network of ensembles that all then feed into the NYG?
Yes, that's right. So because we have sort of a broad range of ability there, we start with our foundation level. So our foundation level generally tends to be guitarists who are slightly younger, and they operate at sort of a grade 5 level. So we're very, very much in the exam system here in the UK. So they come to us, we sort of nurture them, we get them on the road, and then they progress up to the Camerata level. So I'm the director of the London Camerata, and that takes them up to 18. And then recently, a couple of years ago, I was always I just felt that at 18, they're doing such fantastic work by that stage, and they're getting to be really accomplished. And I just thought there's got to be another stage beyond that. And so we started the NYG Fellowship. And so the fellowship is really what I would call early career guitarists. So they may already be studying at conservatoire level, they may have graduated, but that was just a sort of an extra level. And I direct the fellowship, and I just have an absolute blast. I adore it.
So with all of these, there's so much to that network. And I know as I've followed you over the years, I see there's often weekend get-togethers, and then even concert tours where you're taking the group on tour. So yes. Obviously there must have been some fabulous plans in place then this year that were impacted, as we all were, with COVID-19. So yes. How did that impact the NYG programs, and how did you all respond?
Well, it's been a challenge, and I think all of us across the globe have been facing some really tough times and some really hard decisions. For us personally, our whole sort of year, our program goes towards an Easter residential where everyone comes together. And this is a chance for us to play in a larger ensemble setting. So the differentiation we have there was we call that our orchestra. So we would all join together, we'd be camping out, not literally, but we have a sort of a boarding school we go to, and we all sort of play in our regional groups, but we all have training together as well. And it's just something that, just couldn't happen this year. then normally what happens is we take a little bit of a break. Children here get very busy with exam season after Easter holidays. And so we then were planning our first ever tour of Spain. And so it's been gutting. It has been gutting, but the safety of our members comes first and foremost. And we'll be doing it next year. We'll be on the road.
There's always next year, and I would imagine the musicians are going to be that much more eager to get together by next year and appreciative of the time together, like those weekends.
I think so.
Along those lines, Helen, I know one of the things that ensemble directors were faced with was just kind of throwing in the towel, and just having everyone work on solo guitar because of all of the effort involved with trying to take something like NYG and going virtual. But I know that you feel strongly, like others, that there are many non-musical benefits to playing in an ensemble, and that perhaps the community aspect of it is maybe at the heart of why all the effort is worth it. Would you tell us a bit about all these non-musical benefits of playing in an ensemble?
Sure. I mean, first, I'd probably just like to say that the scenario of not being able to come together has been a really hard one for us. But what happens for our children is they're not living in the same places as each other normally. They're not part of the same school. And so actually that connection time when they come together is really, really important. So we've been absolutely working flat out to deliver other alternative sessions. And I think that's probably the message that I think is worth really sort of getting out there, is that there are creative ways to do other things. And there are, as you say, so many musical benefits. And, we've been focusing on doing explorations in other ways. So we've had sessions, for example, we did a session on tremolo. How cool is that? And we also have had exercises to practice, and you can do that together, sort of en masse. Obviously, if everyone's unmuted, it sounds a little bit like an underwater event. But we can get around that. We sort of focus in on different people. I go and visit them, and just have a little chat one-to-one as everyone's sort of practicing together. So that worked really well. And I think there's so many benefits as far as those teamwork connections, the idea of listening to someone, being able to respond to what they do, and the wider musical benefits of playing in time, and just sort of feeling that you can adapt what you're doing to find something even more magical altogether. I mean, it's a really incredible experience. And so much of my formative years were spent actually not in guitar ensembles but in orchestras.
Sure.
And I just know that sort of made me the musician I am, and without any doubt. Really, it's one of the most fabulous things you can do.
Very well said. So I know that NYG has some internal and external projects that are going on, and I'm curious to have you tell us a little bit about the external project that we'll all get to enjoy, because I alluded to it with the introduction and the help from some friends.
Yeah.
So what did you set about to do, and how did you come to that selection?
Well, we can't play together properly. Technology doesn't really exist. And so, like many people across the world, we decided we would like to do our own version of a virtual guitar ensemble. So I'd done an arrangement a little while ago of a Lennon and McCartney's with a little help from my friends. And I just thought, cheesy, but it's a good message. It really is. And so we decided that that's what we would go for. And we're absolutely sort of on track getting that all, pulling it all together. It's been a learning curve.
As soon as you mentioned to me that was the tune, I instantly started to reflect and hear the lyrics in my head. And I thought, oh, how smart. Yeah. I mean, just what a perfect tune with, like you say, a perfect message for these times. I think the the finished products are often perceived as it looks like anyone can do that.
Mhm.
And for a short piece, maybe it's not so obvious how much technical difficulty can happen in post-production. Would you mind sharing a little insight into maybe some of the challenges that have to be overcome to successfully pull off a virtual ensemble?
I will. I mean, I think what I will say is I love technology. I really do. But this was very much, when I thought of this, I had really no absolute clue or experience at all. But I do like to say, yes, we're going to give it a shot. And it has been a steep learning curve for me. So I'm sort of, finding my way through Logic Pro and Final Cut. And, there is a certain element of that that's intuitive, but there's a lot of information out there to help you find your way. And I'm loving it. But it is a huge commitment. I mean, there's so much to go through. But I think as far as the children were concerned, everyone was on board really quite quickly with it. And the first sort of challenge for me as a musical director, I think I'm quite strict, actually. I'm not going to pretend. I'm kind, sort of, but I have real. Just
you set the bar high.
Yeah, and I do, and I want us to achieve, really special things. So I thought, okay, the first thing is going to be a click track to play with, and my perspective on that was, well, I think probably most of my children will have never done a track playing to click, and that's a real art. It's not easy. It's really
at all.
And the arrangement I've done is one that gives us very little room for maneuver as far as the rhythm. It's really precise. And so what I did first of all, because I'm a little bit obsessive like that, I did a video for all of the kids, and I went through all of their parts, and I said, this is what I'm looking for here. And, we're going to, so I was trying to give them a little bit of, front up coaching on it. And then when I did the click tracks, I did record every part. So I thought probably to give it the context and to give them sort of the confidence that they're playing the right notes at the right time, and that they sort of get an idea of the whole as well. I put a track on with a click. So they were all playing along, just feeling a little bit more sort of buoyed up. And it has been brilliant, actually. Really, I'm so proud of them, really, truly.
And that is such great advice for those of us looking to embark on one of these projects in the near future. So let me ask you, what kind of feedback have you received from the musicians? Projects like this, and particularly in this time, what has this meant to the musicians involved? What has this meant for them or to them?
Well, I think probably. I can see quite clearly with some of the other virtual sort of internal sessions that we've done, they're just so pleased to see each other, because they don't hang out normally, and they hang out when they come to Nige. And so, when you've got those sort of Zoom sessions or whatever sort of platform you're using for that, to have them able to see each other and we can talk to each other has been, I think it's been really important to keep that connection going. And they've really loved spending time doing other projects as well. And actually, it's given us that impetus to do it. And I'm all for trying to find positives in challenging circumstances. And, we wouldn't have done as much of the online opportunities. We just wouldn't, because we'd have been just fully immersed in being together. And so to sort of extend their knowledge in different ways, I mean, we've got the utterly fantastic Gerald Garcia coming up next weekend, and
awesome.
I know, it's brilliant. He's doing compose your own etude based on his etude esquisse. So he's taken through a workshop on that, and that's what it's all about. It's finding a new way.
That's amazing. Gerald Garcia is one of my favorites, and I love those particular etudes. work with him with all of my students. That's absolutely fabulous. You've hit upon my next question, really. I think already, but I have to ask. What was your favorite part of going virtual? Maybe something that surprised you, or something that really just kind of stood out that you didn't expect.
Well, I think what it has been is just putting a new perspective on some of the classes you would normally do, and what I realized as well. So, for example, if we were doing some sort of performance class, and let's say everyone was going to play little bits of solo, well, when you're sat in your room at home, although we're all connected on the screen in front of us, you are still alone in your environment. And I think, I just thought, I want to make sure we can really get engaged rather than slightly disconnect and watch people and sort of, maybe wait 2 or 3 people before you get a chance to play. So we've really been working hard on active listening, and just developing other ways of responding. And it's been something that I've been carrying forward into my work at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama, which is the National Conservatoire in Wales, where I work. And we've been working on that basis for our performance classes. And I will say, what has sort of surprised me is when I've asked for feedback, a lot of my students have said, we want to do this like this always.
Wow.
Want to carry on with this because it starts being more meaningful.
Yeah, what a super positive to come out of that. It sounds like things that, and I've experienced this myself, things that will remain when we no longer have to go virtual. Yes,
Definitely.
Helen, it's fabulous speaking with you. I so appreciate you spending some time with us, speaking to everyone here at the GFA this week. Certainly, it is much easier to get by with a little help from your friends. So I think the proper thing to do right now is to listen to the National Youth Guitar Virtual Ensemble with a Lennon McCartney classic arranged by yourself, Helen Sanderson. Here is With a Little Help from My Friends.